everybody. How are you today? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Awaken Your Spirit, because you know what? There's a lot of chaos going on right now, and David and I want to talk to you about this morning. How do we get to that state of grace despite all the crazy going on around us? Because there is crazy after crazy after crazy. Pick the topic: politics, pandemic, vaccines,
weather,
economy, schools for kids, and you name it, it's there.
even the weather.
Oh, I know, right? Like major storm in Chicago.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I'm just going to stay indoors because of the weather. And I'm like going, well, weren't we staying indoors anyway? It's like,
Yeah.
But it's really crazy. And you know what? I think it's a real big metaphor in the fact that not only staying physically inside of our houses, but that we're all being called to go inside for our answers, not to look outside of ourselves for answers.
Right. And
no, you're the spirit guy. You're the soul connector. So I will defer to you on that.
no, I totally agree with you. You've got it right. And so, I just want to say hello. Good morning to everybody. Welcome. I'm in Sedona, and we're having a big snowstorm, which is very unusual for us and very welcoming, because we need it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's really magical here. So I know people in Chicago are like, yeah, the snow. For here, it's kind of fun and special.
Well, I even saw that friend of mine in Tempe, which is, lower elevation than where you're at, they got snow.
Really?
And it's like, for the desert to have snow is like crazy. So it kind of matches the rest of the crazy that's going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really interesting to me how we really are, we can be tugged to all this noise that's going on outside of ourselves these days. And, I can certainly be pulled to, I have a couple people in my life that are the biggest teachers that really are pushing me to just make decisions from the inside out. And it's like understanding you always say it's your true north, right? That's your soul connection, and really get in touch with that to amplify what you want to create.
Right. Well, I think really the truth of it is, and it really started about a year ago, an acceleration of light, an acceleration of energy that started to deconstruct our old worlds, our old consciousness, and to really bring us into a process of birthing a whole new way of being, a whole new life, and a whole new consciousness. If we'll allow that. If we fight that, then we get really beat up. And so, it's the way in which we hold our lives and our circumstances. It's like the way we hold that consciousness and the story that we tell ourselves is really important. Whether our lives are, falling apart or in the process of reconfiguration, and a whole new life is ahead of us and coming, and that we're stepping into that.
Right. Well, and I was reminded of this last night, that we really need to get to this place where, this is where meditation is important. Those of you who are religious, I find, I was raised Catholic, so a meditation in that fashion is like saying the rosary. I see that as like a meditation, and then there's, I always say that meditation is listening to spirit, and prayer is talking to spirit. It's like you need that figure 8, that listening and putting out in the world what you desire, listening and putting it out in the world what you desire. And it's really important, I think, for people these days to actually start to take that quiet time to do that. You always talk about that you're in your bliss and in ecstasy, and you get there by spending time connecting to your higher self.
Right. Right. Well, I've actually, been on quite a spiritual journey for a number of years. And the whole thing about the bliss or the ecstasy or whatever it is, that when you can feel that good on your inside, your outside has to ultimately vibrationally match that. Now, that's not about particularly focusing on what you want at that point. It's almost like going into a deep surrender, going into the very core of your being. And when you're in ecstasy, when you're in bliss, when you're in joy, you're at your core. And let that core, let that vibration then manifest in your life, and see what shows up.
Right.
See what opportunities are there that are way beyond perhaps even your most inspired imagination. And take that journey. You know, it's like I've always been a very curious person. So, and I'm nothing more than a good adventure.
Well, and that brings up a really great point in the fact that I think many of us have stopped going for the new adventure, you know, going for the new dream, going for the, you know, and I'm finding that if we don't choose the new dream or choose the new adventure right now, we are choosing to call in a crisis into our lives to create the change that is coming for all of us right now. It's not this unpacking of the world, this transformation. On the other end of this, it would not surprise me that we wind up in a period like the Roaring 20s, like we did after the last pandemic, where it was like, it was huge expansion and huge opening up. But that's going to come, you know, we can either call in the crisis to create your own personal shift, or you will shift and have the courage to step into the new adventure. So we can have it be fun, or we can have it be miserable. Like, why not choose the fun? Right.
Right. And I think another thing is, it's like, even though there are many crises going on, if we really kind of go into our inner core and go, I'm aware of all those crises, but am I actually living those crises in my immediate now? And a lot of times we're not. We're okay.
Right.
And to not attach to a crisis that is not ours, to take that on and bring that in.
Right.
We have to be very careful of what we focus on and attach to, because, you know, there's a lot of very dramatic and traumatic energy globally, and there's also tremendous transformation and tremendous light and awakening happening.
Yep.
And it really is what we want to focus on.
It really is. I love that. I love the fact that you said the dramatic and traumatic. So those of you who are watching, I want you to take a look at, in your lives, where are you plugging into the drama? You know, I was just having a conversation with somebody about maybe you're going to give up social media, and it's not necessarily giving up social media. Maybe it's about the fact that of what are you plugging into, you know, on that. Are you or TV? Are you watching TV that are funny movies, or are you watching ones that are about destruction? And, you know, it's because it's all vibration. And so are you tapping into the drama or the trauma? Right? Because whatever you're watching and whatever you're plugging into, that is what you are creating in your own life, because that's what you're connecting to. And we don't realize that it's those little subtleties that are actually creating all of that. And I think it's just important for people to recognize that, to really see, like, is that what you want your tomorrow to create? Because whatever you plug into today creates your tomorrow.
Right. And so as we move into more advanced consciousness, we also, in being a creator of our own universe, we also have to understand that there's portals of energy. Okay. And so we'll just say, you know, with a lot of the social media,
Yep.
Those are portals of consciousness. They are creations. Whether they're true or not doesn't matter. If you go down that rabbit hole, go into that portal and start bonding with the thought form and the energy that's being transmitted in that portal,
Right.
you will become one with it.
Right.
And so when I talk about portals, I'm also, as we move into levels of mastery, we can, rather than reacting to everything, we start to choose, what do I want to merge with? What do I want to bond with? What feels true to me? So that we start to connect with things that bring us, open us up, make us feel alive, open our hearts, bring us into joy, bring us into our creativity, bring us into our passion, things that excite us rather than depress us. And so that's where we're all really masters of our own fate. What we focus on is what we're going to create. And it was exactly what you were talking about earlier,
No
Julie.
doubt.
And so I think with, I just want to talk about this social media thing for a moment. When social media started, I'm able to connect in with different energies and different masters. And they were like, they were telling me then, and it was probably about 8 years ago, be very careful of these portals, because they can take you in directions of incredible light or incredible dark. So beware of what you're connecting with. So I was always extremely cautious. I didn't understand it, but I respected where I was getting my knowing and my information, and it proved to be true. So, it's like, if we go down kind of the wrong rabbit hole and get into energy and into a lot of times misinformation, it literally can steal our soul. We become one with something that it has nothing to do with us, truly who we are. But if we bond with that, we can get stuck there. And so
true.
This is a time to be very aware, and also realize that there are many portals opening now, because this is part of holographic and multidimensional consciousness. And so there's portals of light that will take us into extraordinary experiences of awakening and connection and joy and bliss. And there's portals that'll take us to hell. They'll take us into the deepest levels of fear and brokenness that you can imagine. And so it's important to be aware that all of these things are open. And, it's just like in our world today, you can either go, literally go into the best parts of town, beautiful, surrounded with great beauty, or you can go into the ghetto. And, and they're literally like portals of energy. And whatever you immerse yourself in and become one with, that's gonna create your reality. So that what I'm really telling people is, you are a master of your own consciousness. And the way you focus your intention, the way you focus your, either you're opening your heart and feeling joy and bliss.
Yep.
Or if you're feeling something other than that, you might start looking at what you're focusing on, or who you're hanging out with, and see if that really serves you.
Well, and I it's really interesting that you're saying that, because it really is about what you choose to focus on. Because people always say to me, like, Julie, you wake up happy every day. Like, do you ever have a bad day? I'm like, I have bad days all the time. And, you've seen my bad days, David, right? Like, but it's all about what you choose to focus on. I mean, like everyone, those of you who are watching, like, when I have a bad day and I energetically can't get myself to that place of bliss and joy and happiness, I bring in my support team. And so, like, David's one of the people that I'll call, and I'll be like, dude, I need to get my vibration up. I need to just plug into this higher level of consciousness. Help me get there. And we'll do a one-on-one session, and then it just all shifts, because we all have those days where we're at a lower vibration, or when things just feel heavy. And but are you going to keep plugging into more heavy, or are you going to plug into things that feel light? You know, like there are days it's like, I know I need to move my energy and I just get on the Peloton that's in my house and I don't even care if I'm just walking. It moves the energy and it's a positive thing. And then by the time I'm done walking on that thing for even 20 minutes, it shifts me. And I don't have to do it. Like for some reason we think that we have to like push and make it hard. And it's like some of my best workouts is when I'm like just ease and grace on the Peloton. You know, I love my new Peloton treadmill and it's like amazing and how much joy and bliss is, you know, even the fact that I feel it like in my hips and it's like, oh, I'm waking those muscles back up again that have been a little dormant for a while, you know, and it's like focus on those positive things that are happening. And because we still have, as a society, a lot more layers of unpacking to come. Like I know a lot of people said, good riddance 2020. Guess what? 2021's gonna have a lot of turnover. Like it's not stopping. We have started major infrastructure shifts around the globe, and that transition is not done. So it's about let's plug in to these transitions that are expansive, that create happiness. And how we do that is going inside. So should we take everyone inside into a meditation to help everybody get their vibration up? What do you think?
Right. So I just want to add to what you've been talking about. So part of mastery is being able to master your energy. And that means being able to master your emotions and master your mood so that as you move through your daily life, we all have things that surprise us, trigger us, whatever. And so part of the mastery is it's like something triggers you, takes you by surprise. You all of a sudden feel negative emotions coming up, maybe judgment, maybe fear.
Right.
The mastery is how quickly can you stop that and turn that around? And literally, right?
That is the trick.
That is the trick. And the reason you want to do that is because once you become the designer, the architect of your consciousness, then you have a much better opportunity of moving from day to day in a pretty consistent state of well-being, joy, happiness, and not being seduced and pulled into negativity and just pummeled, you know?
Right.
And so we have a lot of people now that have been pulled into a lot of trauma and negativity that keeps them in a state of suffering.
And we have to realize we choose that.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that we actually choose that.
Right.
We're not victims. We choose to be the victim.
But sometimes people are so far down the rabbit hole, they don't even know they're a victim until it's pointed out.
Yeah.
And that they do have a choice. And that's part of the wake up and going, okay, I guess I better learn some new skills here. And the energy and the time and the money and everything that you put into yourself and your well-being and your being in a state of grace, of joy, of happiness, that's a great investment in you. Because if you're not in a place of at least balance and equilibrium, then every day is just a tremendous effort that you're just trying to get through,
right?
And survive. And so, you know, there's a lot of people on the planet that are in survival mode,
right?
And it really is better if we can have compassion for people that are in that situation, but not jump into that whole energy pit with them, because once you're in that, it's hard to pull yourself out.
Right. It really is.
And so,
it's a suffering cycle.
Right. So what Julie and I are doing here is really, the intention is to bring people into a place of empowerment and personal freedom.
Yep.
Once you have that, then you can choose and you can act rather than react. And then no matter what the circumstances are, you're still in your core, you're in your mastery. And even the things that life throws at you ultimately empower you rather than destroy you.
So, David, I want to bring this up. So my friend Tim Lyman says, the trick is recognizing it when you're triggered and then being able to regulate your emotions. It's easier said than done. I know you probably have a little tidbit for that one.
Well, what I'll say is the moment that you're triggered is the quicker you can move into your solution. So what is your solution when you get triggered like that? How do you fix yourself? So do you have a way to shift your focus, shift your energy? You know, Julie and I were laughing just before we went on, and we both have altars in our houses, and we have candles that we light, and you know, it's just part of keeping a sacred space. And as corny as that sounds, you know, it's like, I love those sacred spaces in my house. Doesn't cost much to do that. You put maybe whatever reminds you of things that uplift you, whether it's a certain master, a certain teacher, certain religion, philosophy. And it's like, by lighting a candle for that, it's like you keep that part of you ignited. And it's like when everything else goes crazy, you just, you know, I come into this altar and I'm like, just call forth some beings that I really resonate with and go, help bring me into balance, bring me back into resonance, bring me back into my heart. So the first key is, rather, once you get triggered and you're in fear, is to go into a focus of what do you love?
Right.
And oftentimes, you know, with women, I'll say, a great way to focus is to go into your heart and focus on your children, and feel the unconditional love you have there. That's gonna open your heart. And once that's open, you know, then I'll say, and we're going to be doing this today, but I'll go, okay, now I want you to go into Mama Bear. And now that you've really focused on how much you love your children, feel the power of how you'll do anything to care for them.
Yes, I've got one of those inside.
And that's a good way to start shifting energy right away.
Well, and I do want to point out, Tim, thanks for bringing up the trigger, because what I have noticed in helping people through the years is that often when we're triggered, we think it's about the other person. But actually, when we are triggered, that means something needs to shift in you. So you're triggered. So on some level, you called that person into your life on a soul level to trigger you. You're now triggered. And it's like the minute you shift and you don't trigger from that same behavior coming at you from somebody else, then all your external world changes. And it's kind of, pardon my French, it's kind of like a mind fuck on some level, right? Because we've been wired that, you know, that it's something outside of us, but it's really actually the triggers inside. So that trigger is coming up because it's actually in the process of healing. That's the beauty of it. So bless those people in your life and send them gratitude for triggering the shit out of you, because guess what? They're actually leading you to your healing process. And that's huge. Like my ex-husband triggers the crap out of me. Or I should say he did. I am finding this amazing place of a state of neutrality and just kind of go, oh, I have compassion for what he's going through, as opposed to being triggered any longer, because I don't need to plug into the drama or trauma of that. and I can stay in a state of neutrality, and I'm starting to find this beautiful space to hold then, which is leaking into my business world. It's leaking in with my kids. It's leaking into my extended family life, my friends, my current relationship, and it's beautiful. So when we can see the gift in those triggers, but it's about being able to observe that. And when we don't take the time to do some of the energy work around it, then we don't get to a place of neutrality and observation, because we just trigger. And trust me, I'm feisty Irish girl. I got more fire than the average bear. And so I understand. Whereas David, as you like to always say, a lot of power under the hood. We just don't know how to direct it.
Right. So, we're, a lot of us are very, we like to keep our home organized. We like to keep things around us organized. But this is about organizing your energy. And so what happens when you get triggered a lot of times is it triggers the story of the victim script. And all of a sudden you're back in a story about this always happens to me. And that story takes you into a place of helplessness and hopelessness and powerlessness and fear. And so, we're going to start, we're going to be doing energy right now to open your heart. And the heart is the antithesis to the fear. That is the gateway, the doorway, okay, the portal into transformation. So part of mastery is when you get triggered, when you get in fear, when you get into the victim script, first of all, being able to identify it and go, oh God, I'm in the victim story again. Right. That's not who I am, but I'm in this movie for the moment. And then really learning how to extricate yourself from that, which is right away starting to refocus. So, like I said, refocusing on the things that you love, the things that are going right in your life, the people maybe that you're healthy, that your children are healthy, that, go back into the things that are right and just it's like making a U-turn. Right. Going, no, I'm not going down this rabbit hole. I'm not going to go into this negativity. I don't want to. Right. And so that's the beginning of turning things around to where you start to become empowered. Ultimately, is that part of moving this energy through you and through your body is to teach you how to get into your heart, how to really open your heart. And once you can open that energy and that portal, then you start to move into levels of mastery, and you're going like, no, I'm going to be in my heart. Why? Because it feels better. Now I know how to get into it, and I'm going to do it. So, right. It's like, and that's part of the transformation. A lot of us are shedding a lot of garbage, a lot of programming, a lot of thought form, things that we picked up through our lives that actually don't work, that are dysfunctional, that are archaic. And really moving into levels of light and awareness of what works. And in the process, dumping out those old stories that are, things that we picked up from the past, and literally stopping that. Every time those stories start, catching yourself and go, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in this story. I don't want to go down this road. I've been down this road endlessly. And you'll get to where you're more and more successful with that, because you become more practiced with it, like anything. Right.
It's like building a muscle. I always tell people, it's like building a muscle. I'm like, give yourself a break. You're building a muscle and you're on the bridge to the new you, or actually your more authentic you, because we play these things out from a place of distraction. So I had somebody recently, what they did is they would tap into, they had smoked too much marijuana, but then they had alcohol, and then they realized what their trauma trigger was. And then when they cut the marijuana out, then they were just like, oh, I'm just having alcohol once in a while. And then when they cut the alcohol out, then it was like, readjusting the food, because each layer of this, because each one of those is a distraction, and pick your distraction, right? But as you start to do that, and you have to go to a deeper level of being the observer, because you will be triggered with the same patterns as you take away those layers, because you're now actually internalizing it and actually processing what's happening in your life, as opposed to diverting it and distracting yourself with those vices, if you will. And like I even know, me being a feisty chick has been a deterrent for me actually choosing to be vulnerable in the world and actually opening up my heart. Because what I've come to realize is that even though I'm super feisty, I have this huge heart to give and to open up. And I've put these protective measures in place because over the years I've been hurt. And it's like, no, I got to be the best version of myself, because the world needs me, and it needs me more than ever now. And it's like, okay, it's okay to be open. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to stand in my truth and speak that to the world. And sometimes it just takes breathing through it and letting your freak flag fly and be a financial planner that has an awaken your spirit. And we do energy work, and it's like, that's who I am meant to be in the world, and share gifts like yourself, because the world needs it and we need it now. And we all came here with our unique gifts that we have to share. And it's time for us all to do that, because we all came here to help humanity transition at this time. So you ready to jump into the energy work to help people
Absolutely.
get that higher vibration? This is my favorite part. And I hope all of you can stay and come back every Tuesday morning, because David and I are doing these. And if you can't come on Tuesday morning, you can always watch the videos later, because the energy still gets to you in these sessions. Because I think it's super important. Any support that we can get to raise our vibration these days, let's plug into the joy. Let's plug into the happiness. Let's do it. We deserve it.
Right. All right. So I'd like everybody to kind of go into their inner core, into your heart, into your center. And we're going to create a pyramid of light. And I'm going to tell you why we're going to do this pyramid of light. If you want to change energy at any time in your daily life, whether you're in your home or your office, imagine a pyramid of light over your office or over your home. And that pyramid, the reason the ancients used pyramids is because it really focuses energy in a very intense way. So we want to create that pyramid of light. All right. I want you to go into the center of that pyramid of light. And at the base of the pyramid are 3 circles of light, 13 mama dragons, 13 pointed stars, and 13 dream weavers. And this is energy that we're going to bring into your toes, your arches, your heels. I want you to feel a force of light coming into your toes, your arches, your heels, and feel that light moving up your legs into your hips. Feel it coming to the base of your spine, and at the base of the spine, I want you to imagine a brilliant sun, just a radiant sun, and feel the energy of that sun at the base of your spine, because that's to feel the strength of that light as it moves up your spine. And we're going to come to your heart center. And as we go into your heart center, we're going to place another sun, a radiant sun. And again, we want to open the heart, feeling your capacity to love. So I'd like you to just focus on that which opens your heart and brings out the sunshine, brings out the radiance. Whether whoever and whatever that is, whether it's a mom and her children and the great love, but just feel your heart opening. Focus on what's right. Feel what gives you joy, that which is precious to you. There we go. So we're going to just really open the heart, start moving into a frequency of ecstasy. So when you've heard me talk about portals, the portal in your physical body is your heart. Okay, that's the portal into other dimensions of high frequency and light. That's the gateway. So we're really opening this heart, and we're going to start moving that energy up your spine. I want you to feel that flow of energy just rushing into your shoulders, your upper arms, your lower arms, your hands, your fingers. I want you to feel the central sun in your palms and your fingertips. Just feel your body switching on, coming alive. Feel, we all use our hands in many, many ways to create and mold and do things in our lives. So we need to have that really strong energy in our hands and our palms. And we're going to go back to the brain stem, and we're going to place the central sun in the brain stem, which is at the base of the brain. And we want to feel the energy of that switching on. Feel the brain starting, the neurons starting to switch on. But what we're going to do is we're going to connect the energy from the base of the spine through your heart to the base of the brain stem, because this is a very powerful power base for all of us. And so we want to feel that a circulation of that figure eight of radiant light going from the base of our spine through the heart to the base of the brainstem, just feeling the power of that energy switching on in your field. And we're going to go back to the brainstem. We're going to activate some of your glands, the thymus, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the pineal gland. The pineal gland is in the very center of the brain. That is where you connect into higher levels of consciousness. So we're going to connect into the multiverse. We're going to switch into holographic and multidimensional consciousness, as well as connecting into the galactic levels. So we want to feel just all the neurotransmitters switching on, starting to feel a radiance, a radiant energy and light just coursing through the brain and switching on. And from there, I'm going to have you spiral out your third eye, out your crown, out the apex of the pyramid. We're going to travel through a galactic corridor of light. So now we're in another dimension of light, traveling as radiant light in form. So I want you to feel yourself as light in form. And as you're doing that, I want you to feel yourself merging the plasma of the central sun. That's what the central sun is. It's plasma, it's light, just like the plasma of your blood. I want you to merge that plasma of that light with your blood, feeling the blood crystals, feel that the whole, your whole system, coronary system, just pulsing with light and energy. Feel that moving into your legs, into your feet, into your toes. Feel the radiance of that in your entire physicality. And we're going to continue going through this galactic corridor, through a galactic gateway, and we're going to move into this beautiful experience of spiraling into fractals of crystal, fractal light going into a kaleidoscope of prismatic light. And as feel your heart connecting to the very center of that kaleidoscope, feel that heart going really into your core, into your center. And we're going to go directly at the apex of that kaleidoscope of light is a radiant central sun. And feel yourself, those fractals of light, clearing and cleansing any and all negativity, fear, distortion, confusion. Feel it like literally clearing all your thought form, bringing you into clarity. And as we're going into that radiant light, I want you to feel yourself going directly into the sun, into the very center of the sun, into that radiance, and feeling that radiance just permeating your entire physicality. Feel the luminosity and the radiance of that light, activating every atom of your being. Just your atoms are vibrating with this luminosity and light. And feel yourself being cocooned in this beautiful radiant light. You're just feeling that radiance, feeling connected to the earth, to the mother, to life force itself. And feel that energy just moving through you, feeling spirals of light spiraling through your entire physical body. Wheels within wheels, clearing, cleaning, opening, expanding, moving you into higher and higher vibrations of light. So you are just literally a luminous, radiant being of light. feeling that vibration, feeling that level of your being that is always there, that you're just like really focusing in on that, moving into that energy, into that radiance. There we go. And I'm just going to be quiet, and we're going to want to really raise the energy into a frequency that I call ecstasy. And so however this energy or frequency impacts you, just allow it if it feels good to you. Feel yourself being energized, totally rejuvenated. Feel your highest levels of consciousness switching on, highest levels of creativity and joy. I want you to really connect into and remember the things that give you the greatest joy, that are just your favorite moments. And as you're connecting into that, I want you to realize that that state is always there for you to connect into. And I want you to just bring those incredible visions or energy that bring you that joy, whether it's being in nature, being with your favorite people, whatever, that just open your heart fully and take you out of the linear sequential mind and into just joy and flow. Feeling like you're just in a river of radiance and light. I'd like you to feel your body in these spirals of light, and these spirals of light are creating more and more energy, and you're just becoming more and more invigorated with that energy that's just spiraling around you and through you.
David, I'd like to point out to people that this feeling of neutrality and that like almost like the static in your body is dissipated, that this is that state of neutrality we want to approach our day with. And that we can, each one of us can choose for this to be our days amongst all the chaos going around us. And that, you know, we certainly will continue to do this on Tuesdays at 8 a.m. Central, but that there's also opportunities to plug in with you to do that at other times during the week as well. You can do that individually with David. We've got his email address right below his picture there, 𝑚ichaelGhilardi.com, as well as, you know, if you want to do more group stuff, he has another group on Sundays that he does. Whatever support we all need at this time, I think is super important for us to call in. Because I don't know about you, but I love being in the state of neutrality and peace and calm.
Doesn't that feel good?
It's just the right launch to the day. And this can be your state of bliss all the time.
There'll be a day where we're there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get windows of this, we get our foothold, and it continues to expand and grow and transform.
Yeah. And for those of you who, you know, please share this, like, share, and subscribe, because then more people can find us and we can provide more peace and more neutrality and more happiness and joy to more people in the world. And it starts with our own loved ones. And I look forward to all of you guys coming back next Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central. And by all means, if there's anything that you'd like for David and I to address when we chat before our meditation, let us know. Send us a private message. And certainly, you know, those of you who are not aware, I am giving a copy away of my book for free. All you got to do is pay for shipping. Just go to awakenyourwealthbook.com. And you can get a free copy of my book, because it's time for us all to awaken our personal wealths and be rich in every area of our life, not just money. Because money is actually just the result of everything else. And being authentic in the world and screaming your unique self to everybody out there. David, any other last words for people today?
No, I just really have enjoyed, again, our time together. And I hope that this energy is permeating your entire field and that you're having an amazing day today. And that just opening yourself to having a miracle. Why not?
Why not? I love it. So find your peace and calm in the state of all this chaos, because it is there for you to grab. Much love to all of you and have the best day ever. Bye.
Bye now.